Hi. Yeah, it's been so long. But hi, my name is Shy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, if I still have one. Um, First of all, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone enjoyed their summer. Uh, I really don't have a script for this video, but I felt inclined to record, which I haven't felt in a while. I haven't felt in a while. Um, I have been going through what is not unusual for a lot of people in 2025 in the United States of being in a state of overwhelm, sometimes panic, and other times just feeling nothing. Feeling nothing and trying to figure out how to pull yourself out of that because that's not a good space to exist in long term. I think I'm finally coming out of a period of intentionally not isolating myself, but refocusing my energy on myself, um, reprioritizing things that are important to my day to day care, right? And doing the day to day stuff that, frankly, most would deem boring, but it's necessary to exist and be healthy and be well. I have been focusing my attention on doing that and trying to find joy and happiness in the mundane, in the little things, which is hard for me. I've already talked about that, but I've been learning a lot about how that is valuable, about how that truly is where happiness or long term joy, if you will, stems from. The ability to first find it in the little mundane, like just day to day things. Just being able to see the value, see joy in that. That's where you start. That's really where you start. Not the big gestures that might give you that jolt but doesn't really last for a long period. So that's what I've been focusing on. I feel rested. I feel good. I feel balanced. I feel like I'm walking into winter with more energy than I had in spring, summer, definitely. Still seeking clarity on some things, but feeling much better. So that's a summation of where I ran to after saying I wanted to be creative. Yeah, careful what you ask for. When you say creativity takes energy, man, like trying to tap into a side of yourself that you haven't used or you haven't given full access to for a majority of your life can really stir things you aren't prepared for. So that's what happened with me. I opened cans I wasn't ready to face the consequence of, and I had to face it in a very short period. But I'm well. So today, I think what's coming up for me is looking all around us. I mean, I'm not gonna make this a Debbie Downer post because there's enough of that online. And these days, I'm seeking like the happy, good news, the positive. What are people doing? What can I celebrate for other people? I'm down to that point where I'm even like strangers. If I see their good news, I am happy for them. Just anything good out here. But today, I think, with September closing, with my mindset is always thinking in quarters, right? Like it's just from a profession of doing accounting for almost 20 years. I think in quarters. I'm reflecting on 2025 and we're like 3 quarters in, right? We're about to do the last quarter, which usually is just that Q4 goes by quickly because of the holidays. We all know that, right? I'm reflecting on 2025 and going, what were the good things that happened this year? What are the joyous moments? Because I can laundry list the things that happened that I didn't ask for, that I don't know why I was given. But there's a laundry list of challenges that I was unaware was coming my way. But that is not, like I said, what this post is about. This is supposed to be something uplifting and happy. I was like, what are the good things? I was thinking like 3 moments from 2025 that will always be up there as a highlight for me. in 2025, and the year hasn't finished, so this 3 could change by the time the year ends. But I think for me, if we go back to the start of the year, at the start of the year, actually February, I had one of the most amazing Valentine. And it wasn't a Valentine in a romantic sense. It was a friend. I went to see a friend of mine. That was when I took my first trip to Lisbon to Portugal, and she had recently moved there. And it was a week of just being nurtured and cared for by someone in such an intentional way that honestly it began a whole process of me questioning how not only I show up, but how other people show up for me in my life, and how, they take care of me and vice versa. So that whole week in Portugal will forever be stamped as, and I don't even know if I've even articulated it to this extent to my friend Angela, which I don't know if she's gonna watch this, but Angela, if you're watching, thank you. Was one of the most memorable Valentine I've ever had. It's just, her intentionality. She's just a natural caretaker. She's a loving person. She likes to just love on people. And I didn't even realize how much I needed it, because I'm one of those people, even when I'm going through things, like I will minimize it. I will, prioritize other people's things. And so to be in her space, thinking I'm showing up for her to visit her, and she took care of me in a way that I didn't even know I needed. I slept so good, I ate so good, and we didn't do anything extravagant. I mean, we did the usual tourist things, but it was really the cooking home cooked meals for me. It's the, taking the time to schedule things that cater specifically to my interests to go see, giving me just the right amount of space for me to have my moments to reflect on the trip, but also giving me enough engagement and activity, right, to be social. It was just a perfect week. And I will forever look at that in 2025 as a highlight up there, right up there for me, in things that were good this year. Then the other moment was when I started this hobby. When I started this hobby, it hasn't quite gone. I didn't have any, honestly, I didn't know where it would go. I literally just picked up the camera. I think the act of me just picking up a camera, recording a video, and actually posting it again was another thing in 2025 that I didn't realize the extent of what it would do for me, what it would have me questioning about a lot of things in my life. Just the act of, again, I'd had the camera for well over a year. It was accumulating dust. I was just looking and seeking to do something to pour myself into. And I was like, my friends had said, if you travel, take the camera with you. I never did. It's just, I don't know. I still, the idea of picking up a camera and going outside and recording, which again, I do with my phone. I don't know what it is with the camera. I hit a wall. But long story short, I started this, and even who I was, it's weird. It's only been a few months. I went back and I looked at that first video of me talking, who I was, how I was, what was going on in my life then. So different from this version. And I said that to say, if there's something that's nudging the back of your head that you've been curious about, that you've always been like maybe cringe about, like, oh, if I do it, what will people think? Oh my God, I could never do that, but secretly I want to do it. Do it. Because the one thing 2025 has taught me is, like, at the end of the day, people don't care. I mean, not that they don't care in like a heartless way. It's just like everyone's so preoccupied with their shit that they can't be as occupied with yours as you think, right? So the only person you're doing a disservice is you. If you want to pick up a camera and record. If you want to write something, write it. If you want to, I don't know, go out dancing in the streets, do it. The only person you are limiting is you. Everyone else, they might have their initial 2-second reaction, but they move on to their life so quickly because that's what their priority is, and that's what it should be. So picking up the camera and recording myself and posting it, and even just playing around with editing, which I'm still learning, is a highlight for 2025. Even though it spiraled a whole lot of other things in my life, but just the act of doing it, the courage of doing it, I am thankful I did that for myself. And then my third, I would say, highlight of 2025 has been nestling into my home. And this isn't something I've shared online. I have lived in my home for, it would be 10 years, or a little over 10 years now, because it was March 2015 when I moved in. And I had never prioritized, you know how some people move in and then they redo everything, they repaint everything, they furnish everything, they make it their home. I had never really seen the value of that in homes. I just saw home as like, again, it's roof over your head, you got somewhere to sleep, something to eat, like the basic necessities. But 2025 really reminded me like your home is your safe haven. Your home, especially if you're someone who's sensitive like me, who is creative but is still exploring it, like where you sleep, where you wake up, where you exist most of your time when you're alone, it really needs to heighten your senses. It needs to kind of, there's a saying, it's probably cliche, that says like the home needs to step up to meet you where you are. And if you don't pour into it, it can't take care of you. And I know, a home is an inanimate object, but in some sense I do think homes have their own souls, they have their own personalities. And mine specifically, when I moved in, I was in a space where I just needed somewhere safe to heal, and the home served that purpose. It was secluded, it was safe, it was a quiet neighborhood. It did those things, right? But what happens with houses is if you don't take care of them, they don't take care of you, right? Because they're aging as you're aging, right? So I wasn't taking care of mine. I was just doing the bare necessities, putting the bare stuff in, not even thinking about how I wanted to feel in spaces. And this was the first year that I started to try to turn that around in my home. And it made a world of difference for me in how I rest in this space, in how I get inspired in this space, in what I allow into this space. And I'm still, like I said, it's early days. I just done like a few things, right, that have shifted that. But I'm still working towards creating what I want to be. There was a pivotal moment for me. I went to Barcelona for the first time this year, and I went to Gaudi's, I forget the name of the house. There's a house he has there in the heart of Barcelona that almost from the exterior looks like one of those fairy tale homes, right? It doesn't look like a real house. And you walk through it. And I did the night tour, which was like with the blue light and stuff. And I just remember thinking, I have never been in a house that felt so alive. Like it made you feel things, different things in every room. And it was just the intentionality of how things were placed or carved or shaped. And I think what I now realize walking away from that was coming into my home and going, I'm not going to have Gaudi's stamp on this, right? But I could be more intentional about how I live here. I could be more intentional in how I take care of this because I'm fortunate to have it. I'm fortunate to have somewhere to lay my head. And to just treat it like it's a box that I just come in and out of doesn't really do it justice. It doesn't do me justice. So that's pivotal 2025 moment. So, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot to say. I just for some reason felt the need to pick up the camera, say something, and reflect on the good things for 2025 because there's a lot. I mean, it's like a dumpster fire every time you log in. I know, so I've been minimizing how much I log in. So just trying to some extent dilute that dumpster fire with some goodness, which is like these are some good things that happened in 2025. And I'm sure if you looked at your life and you probably tried to focus in on moments that you had in 2025, there are some good things. Hold on to that because I mean the mass will make you believe like there is no hope and we're all going down in flames. And I think they said the Lord might be coming by the end of the month. I don't know. Don't quote me. I ain't on the TikTok. I heard, so I just hope this gives you something positive, something good to reflect on as we are going to the last quarter, which will be quite a sprint. And maybe we walk into fall and winter with some positivity. All right. I hope you're having a nice one, and we'll see what the next one brings. I am going to try starting in October, not September, to get back on some sort of frequency with this. September, I'm still easing out of my rest and isolation. October, I have some ideas. All right. Yeah, have a nice one. Bye.